Hi, I'm Grant Price at Blue Ridge Mountain Guides, and today I'm going to cover how to tie in to the middle of the climbing rope to lead and the applications of this technique for the climbing instructor or guide working in single pitch terrain. This is an advanced topic and is not covered traditionally on the single pitch instructor course and assessment. We're going to start with talking about equipment. Rope is one of the most important parts of this system. It can be helpful to have a bi-patterned rope or two ropes of different colors. However, this can be done with a single rope of the same color. If I'm planning to bring up each climber and then have them rappel back down on a plum route, one that doesn't have a traverse and pendulum potential, I'm going to need two means of extending a pear-shaped carabiner from the anchor. This could be a locking quick draw and then a 4-foot nylon sling, or any combination of these two. Additionally, I'll need a carabiner to connect myself to the anchor. Having one that's dissimilar from the others can be helpful for visual clarity. And then I'll need a small locking carabiner to close off my tie-in depending on which method I use. So let's talk about organization of the rope. We're going to need to split the rope and have two separate stacks. You can do this by starting at one end, leaving that out to the side, and then stacking to the middle of the rope, and then creating another stack and then flipping that so the middle of the rope is on top. With the middle of the rope, we're now ready to tie in. We could select to use a bowline on a bight or a retraced BHK. I'll start with a bowline on a bight. I'll take the bight and pass it through both of our tie-in points and extend the bight, for me, just a little bit beyond my knee. I'll then tie the bowline on a bight and finish it with an overhand. If I'd like to tie in with a retraced BHK, I'll start by tying an overhand on a bight with a tail that's a little over a foot long. I'll pass that through my tie-in points and then retrace the overhand, much like tying in with a figure 8 retrace. Once I've done that, to back up the knot, close the loop, I'll place a locking carabiner on and then either clip that around the lead strands or back to the belay loop. Now that we're connected to the middle of the rope, we can plan our ascent and descent. A simple option would be to have the instructor lead and then belay one client at a time up and then lower them back down. A more complex option that would facilitate a rappel for each client would be for the instructor to lead, have one client climb, and then do a belayed rappel to the base, and then the other client climb and be belayed rappelled to the base. Before leaving the ground, I want to communicate our plan with my followers. I also want to ensure that both of them are tied in and that we've completed a full system double check. As I climb, I'm going to take a belay on just one strand of the ropes. For this reason, it's easiest to clip both ropes into each piece of protection so that I ensure that I am clipping the strand that I'm being belayed on. Let's take a look at the belayed rappel option. When I arrive at the anchor, I'm going to first secure myself. Next, I'm going to rig 2 extended points that I can belay from. One of these could be a locking quick draw. Then the other constructed with a 4-foot nylon sling. As the first climber comes up, they're going to clean all of the pieces of protection. This can be done only on a route that is plumb and that doesn't pose a pendulum potential. The reason they need to clean the gear is so that when they prepare to rappel, they'll have a straight shot to the ground without the rappel line running through pieces of pro. I'm going to use the belay point that's closest to me to facilitate the belay. And the one furthest away from me, I'll clip up to the master point and prepare my rappel from that one. On the rappel line, which in this case is the striped rope, I'll construct a munter mule overhand so that the rappel is releasable. Then on the carabiner closest to me, I'll belay the climber. Okay, that's them. They climb up. And once they reach the anchor, I'm going to give them security while they're setting up the rappel. At minimum, I'll put in a hand wrap on the brake strand, and then at most, I'll munter mule overhand them to the anchor. They're going to set themselves up to rappel on the striped rope and head on down on a belayed rappel. Once they're at the base, I'm going to take them off belay, and I'm going to feed down the extra rope to them. The extra rope gives them the freedom to move out from underneath the climb and get them away from rockfall hazard, as well as maybe a more comfortable position to hang out. Once I've dropped almost all of the rope down, I'm going to munter mule overhand that strand as my new rappel line. Now that I've got the rappel line prepared, I need to clip it up to the master point to shorten it. I refer to this as yo-yoing the munters. Now my original rappel MMO can be extended to become our new belay. This, however, places me as the instructor away such that I'm having to belay over top or underneath. Simple solution to this is to step underneath the entire anchor to the other side. Now I can belay up the second climber, then once they arrive, they'll set up and do another belayed rappel off the other strand. Once both climbers are back to the ground and have completed the route, we can deconstruct to where we started with just being connected into the anchor and start to think about what we want to do for our descent. One option would be to clean the route and head back down. If this is going to need to be done by rappelling through a fixed anchor, we'll need to ensure that one of the two climbers can untie and completely clear the end of the rope such that we can pull it up and thread it and get back down. It's important to discuss this early and then before the climber does their rappel to the ground. Alternatively, if we want to top rope a route, we could go ahead and put in master point carabiners, secure ourselves to the anchor as the instructor, take out the middle of the rope while ensuring that it's connected to something still so we don't drop it, rig the top rope, and then rappel to the base. In review, we've covered two methods of tying into the middle of the rope, the bowline on a bight and the retraced BHK. The application of the climbing instructor tying into the middle of the rope in single pitch terrain is best applied for negating the need for clients to tie in or clip in to the end of the rope unsupervised.